Hi, this is Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my favorite luxury and high-end foundations and concealers. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. This video is going to be a quick little overview of my top 10 favorite foundations and concealers in the high-end / luxury price point bracket. I have quite a few of these. Some of these are tried and true, and some of my long-standing favorite in my makeup collection. So I thought I could do a themed week all about my favorite high-end and luxury makeup products so that you have a nice little overview of, if you were looking to splurge on something, that you have an idea of where to put your money towards. So that's what we're doing in this video today for both foundation and concealer. So let's just get stuck in. Before we get into the video, it may be good to know who I am and what I like doing on this channel. My name is Maaike. I live in the Netherlands. I have fair skin with a culture neutral undertone, and this greatly influences how I feel about makeup. I have been reviewing makeup for more than a decade. I love trying out eyeshadow palettes, Essences and Catrice, and getting the use out of my makeup. So if that's something you're interested in, then I hope you'd like to consider subscribing. So yes, my top 10 favorite foundations and concealers at a more higher price point. That's what we're talking about today. Some of these I know I've shown you before because I've raved about a lot of these before in the past, but I have tried some other things in the past year or so, so I wanted to update you on my top 10 favorites. There's going to be a mix of brands here. Some of them may be easier for you to get, some of them may be harder for you to get. All of these have good shade matches for me as well. So I have fair skin with a culture neutral undertone, I say in my intro all the time. But because of the neutral tones, I can definitely get away with something a little bit more peachy in some of my foundations for sure. But these I feel are all really good shade matches. I also have dry skin and slightly sensitive skin, so that may be good information to have before I chat about my favorites. So I'm not going to do this top 10 in any particular order. This is not going to be a ranking, but I just want to show you these products, and because I have both a mix of foundation and concealer, I feel a ranking wouldn't make a lot of sense. When it comes to high-end makeup, because it is more pricey, I tend to pick and choose my products a little bit more carefully than drugstore products. I definitely do. Because with drugstore, it's just so much easier to just go like, oh, I'd like to try this. It's only a couple of euros, so I don't really mind it. But with some of these being 50, 60 euro plus products, I definitely tend to put a little bit more thought into it. And also, like picking my shades, I tend to swatch and have it applied to me in store before I decide what to get. So for me, one of my top favorites are both by YSL. So these share a spot because I can't choose. But the YSL All Hours foundation and also the YSL Touche Éclat foundation, I think both of these have been reformulated since I tried them, but I still have my old bottles. The YSL All Hours is my only long wear foundation that I have that is more mattifying, that works on my dry skin. If I have a dance event to go to, this is what I put on my face. Both of these are in shade BR20. And they both look the same on my skin, but this looks much darker in the bottle than this does. So this just goes to show you that just judging a foundation by looking at the shade in the bottle is never going to work. The Touche Éclat I really like for a more dewy, glowy finish. That tends to be my preference. This is again a little bit more of a medium coverage, I feel, and I tend to prefer even more lightweight things than this. So that's why it's not like one of my most used foundations anymore. But I definitely had a phase where I was only reaching for these two. I almost decluttered them in my declutter last year, but then I was like, you know what? These are some of my favorite high-end foundations, and I love them. However, you do have to be very careful here because YSL is owned by L'Oreal. And you can find surprisingly good dupes for YSL products in the regular L'Oreal line. So I definitely feel that the infallible foundation that L'Oreal has and also some of their True Match things are similar to what YSL has to offer. So you definitely don't need to shell out this much money. But if you were looking into YSL as a brand, then these are some of the only products from the brand I like. I haven't tried much YSL at all, but these are tried and true in my collection and I've had them for years. Another favorite product of mine in the foundation category has been this one. This is by Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Light Wonder Youth Boosting Perfect Skin Foundation. And I thought this was going to be discontinued because it disappeared from the website for a while, but it's back. This is in the shade Too Fair, and this is such a good shade match for me. This is very lightweight. It's a very thin formula, almost watery, but it's not a skin tint either. It's definitely still a foundation, I feel. And this is very long wearing as well. For a lightweight, light coverage, slightly dewier foundation, this has the longevity that I want my foundation to have. I remember when I was testing this out, I wore this to work all day and then to a workout class later that evening, and it was still on by the end of the day. That to me is a great long wearing foundation, and texture wise, I prefer these a little bit over the YSL. Another great workhorse foundation that I feel is great for travel especially is my Dior Backstage. I have mine in shade 0N. Here is what it looks like. It is really, really pretty on. It's a little bit matte for most days, I feel, but when I'm traveling, I always feel I get, a little bit more sweaty. I tend to just need a little bit more from my makeup, especially on days where I travel for a long time. And the Dior foundation has been my go-to for that ever since. The bottle is plastic, so it carries well in a makeup bag. And while this is expensive, this does come with more than your standard foundation. So this is 50 mils of product. This is made with makeup artists in mind, hence the name Backstage Collection. But this is such a good product. I still rave about it all the time. And this is definitely one that I travel with a lot. One of the best shade matches I ever found is in the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. This is in shade 3. This is a really beautiful foundation. It is pricey though. It is a very expensive foundation. But I remember, again, liking this. I bought this and also the Dior and the Charlotte Tilbury because I hadn't really tried a lot of higher end foundations for a while. And this was one that stood out to me as something that so many people were raving about. So I wanted to try it. And it became one of my favorites instantly. This is one I need to go back to because I think it's one of the older products in my makeup collection for sure. I've had this for a while. So it may be good to... try and make an effort to use this up at some point in the future. I am currently trying to use up another Giorgio Armani product, the Neo Nude, which is more of like a skin tint, and it's great for like right now in the summertime. This is more of an year-round workhorse kind of foundation. This can be great for like a more glam look. It can be good for a very natural look because it still looks very natural on the skin. But I wouldn't call this a very dewy formula, which is where my preferences lie nowadays. But this is a really beautiful workhorse foundation that can see you through many different occasions. A new addition to the list is this one, and this is the Haus Labs Triclone Foundation. Skin Tech Foundation, I should say. And this is in 060 Fair Warm. I was shade matched to this in store because I couldn't figure out my shade online because there are so many. And I can tell you the hype is real. This is a really beautiful formula. I tried this and was instantly like, yes, this is unlike any foundation I have ever tried before. It's a great shade match. It is that thinner, slightly light to medium coverage, like level of coverage that I really prefer whenever I wear a foundation. It's still dewy, but also long wearing. Another good one to add to this list for sure. I don't think I had tried this yet when I did a video like this last year, but I tried it earlier in the year and I just really, really fell in love with it. So the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech is a really good one and definitely worth the hype. Next up is one that is in my project use up, you could say. This is the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue. This is in the shade 1N0 Porcelain, and this is just so good. This is so good. But you can also see how flat this tube has gotten. I had this in my Shop My Stash for a few months at the start of the year. I selected this and the Giorgio Armani to be the two foundations I try to use up this year. I like doing that every year because makeup is a product we use. And since I love this so much, but it's again also a little bit older in my makeup collection, I knew I had to try to make it like go as far as I could. I will definitely be rolling it back in come the fall winter season. Right now, this is slightly too light for me because that was something that I started noticing around like April when I stopped using this, is that this was a touch too like pinky light for me. But this is a beautiful shade. I think it's actually the lightest shade that they do. Estee Lauder shade ranges can be a bit iffy, but this is a beautiful product. If you like something like the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin or the It Cosmetics CC Cream, those are other products that I feel are very similar to this that I've tried before in the past. And this is one that if I didn't own this much foundation already, I would definitely go out and repurchase because this is a beautiful product and it's just a really, really good one. But I know that once this is gone, if I ever actually manage to use it up, because I only need a little bit of this, that finding another product like it is going to be super easy in my collection already because I have so much foundation. And the final foundation I have is one that I keep in its box because that's the only way to store it. This is the Lisa Eldridge, what's the full name of this again? Just the foundation, the Seamless Skin Foundation. So this is a very awkward size. You can only lay it on its side like this, or you can stand it up in its little container. So that's why I've kept the box because it's just a bit awkward to store. But this is what the bottle looks like. This is a beautiful foundation. Mine is in the shade 05, no, just shade 5. And it's, I think, described as a neutral tone. I tried the sample card with the 4 lightest shades because I thought, because I'm always like one of the lighter shades in a shade range for a foundation. That's the sample card I used, and they all looked horrible on me. Because they were too light, they really accentuated all of my dry patches. But then I bought this one, and I was matched to this in the Lisa Eldridge pop-up store that was happening in Covent Garden at the time. And this was a good shade match for me. So I don't have, especially at the drugstore price point, I don't have that many like perfect shade matches. But with my high-end foundations I have, these all work for me really, really well. And yeah, these are just some of my favorite foundations for that reason. I do have to say though that when it comes to like my foundation collection, I definitely feel that the more expensive things are the things that I, A, not only keep around, but B, are also the ones I'm most interested in terms of using them up completely. With drugstore foundations, I can really try them and then go like, I don't think I will be using this much anymore. So with high-end foundations, I feel I have, also because they are more expensive, I really want to get my money's worth. And I do try to use them up. So that's why the Estee Lauder and the Giorgio Armani are in that sort of use up category this year. And then I want to end the video with some concealers, because I realized that I hadn't really tried a lot of concealers in the past couple of years. So I've been trying to make amends and try more concealer this year. And that's definitely something that I have been doing. I discovered this, the YSL All Hours Concealer. Very difficult to find a shade match. This is in LC1, which I think is the lightest shades, and it is a touch too yellow for me. But in a concealer, I don't mind it having a bit of yellow because I mainly use it to cancel out dark circles and redness that I have. And the yellow undertone in this actually neutralizes that really well. So for me, this was a winner. If I feel that this is very much on par with something like the Dior Forever Skin Concealer, I decluttered that one because it was too dark for me. There is a lighter shade available in that I definitely want to track down at some point, but I gave it away to a colleague because that concealer just wasn't right for me. And I could like fool myself into thinking I could make that shade work, but I wasn't fooling anyone with it. So the All Hours, it's much better for me. And I feel that formula-wise, this is very, very comparable. It even has like the slightly bigger tube. I think this has 15 milliliters of product. So this is going to be one that's going to take a while for me to use up. One that I know I need to use up quickly because Tower 28 as a brand doesn't use any parabens or like preservatives. So their products tend to go off really quickly. So I definitely made a dent in this already. You can't see it anymore because I just shook it up, taking the products upstairs to film with. But this is the Swipe On Concealer in shade CC3, I believe. This is a beautiful shade match. This is really, really hydrating and dewy, which is why this is currently not in my Shop My Stash, because I was noticing that because of the summer season, my skin started to just look awful wearing this because it just looked very creasy. And that's not a good look, but for winter time, this is the kind of hydrating concealer that I just really enjoy. And finally, I have the Glossier Stretch Concealer for you. This is a long-standing favorite. This takes ages to use up because a little only goes a long way. They have, since they came out with the Stretch Foundation, which is too dark or too yellow no matter what shade I pick, so there's that. But the shade I have it in no longer exists because they changed the names of all the shades when the new foundation was launched. So I have G12. I'm not sure if that still means anything to anyone, but here's what the product looks like. It's such a good, like, pinky toned, very light concealer. I love layering this over a color corrector because by itself, this doesn't do a lot. Like, it just has no coverage, but it's so dewy and lightweight and really, really pretty on the skin that I just knew I had to feature it here. So that's why the Glossier had to make another appearance yet again. So those are all the foundations and concealers that I really like in the more high-end / luxury category. I'll make sure to link you to any reviews I have down below. So if you want to see swatches, the shade match on my skin, and what the coverage is like, then I would like to refer you to that, because there I have images in natural lighting that are consistent, so that you can have a look there. It's a little weird with the weather that we're having. It's just cloudy and then bright light, so I can't really film any swatches today. So yeah, I will also be leaving any links to this in the description box in case you're looking to purchase any of these. Do be mindful that if you choose to shop through those links, I could make a small commission. So thanks for doing that in advance. And for now, I would like to thank you so very much for watching this video today. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make several videos every single week, and I have a couple more videos coming for you in my luxury high-end overview like I did today with some of the other categories in my makeup collection. So thanks for watching today, guys, and I hope you have a great one. Bye-bye.